Gopijanavallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopijanavallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatiravanachari Yamunatiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijanavallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatiravanachari Yamunatiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayam Vishnupad Paramhamsa Parivrksacharya Statara Satara Shri Srimade Shri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Sham Kun Radha Kun Giri Godhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Mathura Dham Ki Jai Mayapur Navadip Dham Ki Jai Raghunath Puri Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Yamuna Mai Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samaveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're reading from Canto 3, Chapter 10, and I think I have to read 1 and 2. Is that correct? Yes. Okay. So, let's see. Okay, I'll read the first one, and then the second one we'll read together. Okay. Vidur vacha antarhite bhagavati brahmaloka pitamaha prajasa sarja kartida daikir manasir vibhu. Vidur vacha antarhite bhagavati brahmaloka pitamaha prajaha sarsaja kartida daikirti manasir vibhu. Vidur vacha antarhita bhagavati brahmaloka pitamaha prajaha sarsaja kartida daikir manasir vibhu. I'll read, it is very small, so I will read everything, and then the second verse we'll read together. Vidur Vacha, Sri Vidur said, Antarhite, after the disappearance, Bhagavati of the personality of Godhead, Brahma, the first created living being, Loka Pitamaha, the grandfather of all planetary inhabitants, Prajaha, generations, Sasarja, created, Katidaha, how many? He, from his body. Manaha, manasihi, from his mind. Vibhuhu, the great. Translation. The Sri Vidur said, O great sage, please let me know how Brahma, the grandfather of the planetary inhabitants, created the bodies of the living entities from his own body and mind after the disappearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now text to ye, please repeat after me. Ye, cha, me, Bhagavan, pristas, tvai, artha, bahuvitamaha, tan, vadasvanu, upurvenya, Chindi, Naha, Sarva, Samshayan, Ye me Bhagavan Pristas, Ye me Tvai Artha Bahut Vitama, Tan Vadasvan Uparvenya, Chindi naha sarva samshayan. Ye cha me Bhagavan pristas. Tvai artha bahu vitamaha. Etan vad swan uparvenya. Chindi naha sarva samshayan. Ye che me Bhagavan pristas. Tvai artha bahu vitamaha. Tan vada vans uparvenya. Chindi naha sarva samshayan. Ye cha me Bhagavan pristas. Tvai artha bahu vitamaha. Chindi naha sarva samshayan.
Bhagavan Prishta
Chindena samshaya. Mataji, please. Ye, all those, cha, also, me, by me, Bhagavan, O powerful one, Pristaha, inquired, Tvai, unto you, Ataha, purpose, Bahu Vittama, O greatly learned one, Tan, all of them, Vadashva, kindly describe, Anupurvenya, from beginning to end. Chindi, kindly eradicate. Naha, my. Sarva, all. Samshayan, doubts. Translation: O greatly learned one, kindly eradicate all my doubts and let me know of all that I have inquired from you from the beginning to the end. So please repeat after me. O greatly learned one, kindly eradicate all my doubts and let me know of all that I have inquired from you from the beginning to the end. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vidur asked all relevant questions of Maitreya because he knew well that Maitreya was the right person to reply to all the points of his inquiries. One must be confident about the qualifications of his teacher. One should not approach a layman for replies to specific spiritual inquiries. Such inquiries, when replied to with imaginative answers by the teacher, are a program for wasting time. So, we'll discuss many points today. Anyway, first, let's do the prayers. Mangalchara. Om Gyan Timirandasya Gyanam Gyana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruvai Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swaha Padantikam Vandeham Sri Gurum Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnavam Scha Shri Rupam Sagarjatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Paran Sahagana Lalita Vishangam Kam Sajivam Shri Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpatehe Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Sri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrindam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namo Om Vishnupad Paramhamsa Parivikshacharya Stotara Sata Sri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj Niti Namine. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Gurudas Jayadvita Swami Niti Namine. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Vade Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravanchayane Nivrishesh Srinivade Pashita Desatarine. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, everyone. Okay, so there's so much to discuss, and of course, very little time. But let's see what we can do. Oh, something here. Why doesn't this come? Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Some problem with my laptop. The charge expired. So I'm borrowing somebody's laptop. Thank you, Ananda. Thank you. Okay. So we'll first look at what the questions were asked from Vidur to Maitreya. So, one minute. Okay. Vidur wondered how the Lord could be so involved with the material energy, how the living entities could fall into such illusions. Maitreya confirmed that the activities of creation are conducted by the diverse energies of the Lord, who remains completely aloof and untouched. It's like the lotus flower. Lotus flower is in the water, but it is not affected by the water. And it's out. But it only appears in clean lakes. Lotus flowers don't grow anywhere, everywhere. Only very clean water. And like Lord Brahma was born from the lotus of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And Lord Brahma was thinking what to do. He was in complete confusion state. Lord Krishna then tells him to do tapa, austerities. And after all that 100 years of celestial years, then Krishna shows his personality, his face, and he's satisfied with Lord Brahma's penance. So Lord Brahma actually then he says his prayers, and now the situation is that after the Chatur Shloki, Brahma was happy. Krishna was also happy. Krishna then leaves. He gives him his darshan, final darshan, and he's already given him the instructions to create the sub-creation. So first, Sarga is created by the Lord himself. And Visarga is created by Lord Brahma. That is the secondary creation. So the verse before we start chapter 10, in that last verse of chapter 9, Lord Krishna is telling Brahma, you carry on with now the creation. I am going back to my Vaikuntha. Narayan is going in Vaikuntha. But let's see what is happening here. So it's untouched because of it's completely aloof. The Lord remains completely aloof of the material creation. The living entity's material surgeon, he said, is just like a dream that can be immediately terminated by engagement in devotional service. Satisfied by this, Vidur asked Maitreya for further insight into Brahma's creation of the universe after the appearance of the universal form. He specifically inquired about, these are the questions, most of the questions. planetary systems and species of living entities, Lord's incarnations, particularly those that oversee the modes of nature, guna avatars. Who are the guna avatars? Mode of passion is Brahma, mode of ignorance is Lord Shiva, and mode of goodness is Lord Vishnu. Okay? System of Varnashram and various means of spiritual elevation. So there are 4 Varnas, yes, and 4 ashrams. And most of you are here in the Brahmacharya ashram, which is good. Then you move on to the Grahastha, and then Vanaprastha, and then Sannyas. And the process of Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha, and process of satisfying the Lord. Yeah, those are the main questions asked by Vidur to Maitreya. Now we'll have a look at some verses which was discussed before. Verse number 937. This is when you are contemplating whether there was a source to the stem of the lotus of your birth, and you even entered into that stem, you could not trace out anything. But at that time, I manifested my form from within. This is Krishna talking to Lord Brahma. Yes? Lord Brahma is confused. O Brahma, the prayers that you have chanted praising the glories of my transcendental activities, the penances you have undertaken to understand me, and your firm faith in me, all these are to be considered my causeless mercy. So without the mercy of the Lord, nobody can understand him or his qualities. So to understand Krishna, we need 2 things. Mercy of a guru, somebody who's always in love with Krishna, or Krishna himself. And Krishna gives mercy to somebody who's actually surrendered to him. So our ISKCON movement, Srila Prabhupada's ISKCON movement, is so nice. We just have to surrender a little bit. And then Krishna does the rest. Krishna, O Guru Maharaj. I was recently in America, and His Holiness Jayadutta Swami Maharaj, he guided me in a wonderful way, and he trained me up as well. 1 or 2 places we go, and Maharaj, he says, I will start for 5-10 minutes, and then you have to take over the class. So when somebody very high up, in Srila Prabhupada's movement, gives some instructions, and we just follow it, magic happens. That's what I've noticed. So it is all about mercy. When you get mercy from an elevated soul, actually it just, it's undescribable. But the power they have and the power they give you, it is amazing. So wherever I was giving classes, everyone said, can you come to our center to give a class? Can you come to our center to give a class? I didn't do anything. I think it was Guru Maharaj's mercy flowing through and just speaking a little Krishna consciousness, Krishna Katha. And that's it. And then from one place to another, I was just preaching Krishna Katha. But that can only happen when Krishna actually gives the mercy or blessings, or Guru Maharaj gives blessings. So I was just completely, what can you say, in bliss. Because actually wherever I went and I talked a little, people were happy. And the questions they were asking, I didn't think I could answer them, but Maharaj did tell me, if there are questions, if you get stuck, then Krishna from within, as Chaitya Guru, he helps you. And that's exactly what, happened a lot of times. So I was answering questions very happily and with knowledge. That knowledge was given to me by Krishna and Guru Maharaj. I am not getting any credit. The credit goes to Guru Maharaj and Krishna. So if we have that attitude that we want to surrender to Krishna, we want to surrender to Guru Maharaj, then somehow or other mercy flows. So we have to surrender to the previous acharyas, we have to surrender to Srila Prabhupada and to Srila Prabhupada's disciples, and they will guide us properly. So if we are in any doubt, which Vidur was, or he's actually taking our place, because we have so many doubts. And Maitreya Muni is going to clear all those doubts. So, because he also knows the answer. Why does Maitreya Muni know all the answers? Anybody know? Because he was with Krishna just before Krishna left the material world to go back to Golok. So Maitreya Muni just happened to be there. Krishna was speaking to Uddhava. Uddhava is his pure devotee. And Krishna tells Uddhava, he gives him instruction, you go here and you go there. But mainly he told him, you go to Badrik Ashram and preach to the sages in Badrik Ashram. So Krishna says that he didn't get time in his schedule of appointments or going to various places this time around. So he said, Uddhava, you are my sincere devotee. I'm going to teach you what you should tell the sages in Badrik Ashram. So Krishna tells him everything. Coincidentally, Maitreya Muni in his travels, he happens to see Krishna and Uddhava. So he comes to that same tree and sits next to Krishna. So he is also hearing everything. So he knows all the answers to the spiritual questions. So that's why Maitreya Muni is chosen to answer Vidur's question. Vidur originally was talking to Uddhava. And Uddhava, he was very young, a cousin of Krishna, so they were young. And Maitreya Muni was more same age as Vidur. So Vidur asked Uddhava, you should go and see Maitreya Muni at Haridwar. And that's where this conversations start, Vidur and Maitreya. So Vidur is happy because he knows that whatever Uddhava says, Uddhava is a pure devotee of Krishna. Whatever Uddhava says, we should listen. So the point is, whenever any senior devotee tells us to do something in practice, we should just follow. And gradually, we will also advance in Krishna consciousness. So a senior devotee can tell a junior devotee can tell a newcomer, etc. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, whatever you know a little bit, just pass it on to somebody else. So that's what we do. We learn something and we pass on. This is preaching. So I'm not a good preacher, but I'm learning how to preach. So whatever I've learned, I tell you. That's the process. So we'll discuss a few things here about Maitreya Muni. Why is he qualified? If you go to a medical university to learn medicine, or if you go to a law degree, the professors or the teachers who are teaching in university, they have to be very, 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 very qualified and experienced. It is no good just reading medical books at home and say, I have done my medical exams. It will not work. You will not become a doctor. You still have to go through the practical side of things. So you cannot become a doctor, you cannot become a lawyer just because your father is a judge or something. Srila Prabhupada quotes that, a judge's son, he cannot become a solicitor just because he's his son. He has to go through the whole process. Similarly, we all are doing, sadhana bhakti, we have to go through the sadhana bhakti first before we can go to the sadhya bhakti, advanced level of understanding. Okay, so here there are some verses which I would like to talk about in 5 minutes or 10 minutes maximum. So, why is Maitreya very qualified? After asking various questions and becoming established in the transcendental loving service of Lord Krishna, Vidur retired from putting questions to Maitreya Muni. So this particular statement, Vidur is happy now because he is situated in devotional service. When you reach devotional service, when you start devotional service, then most of your doubts are already cleared. That's why you're taking up devotional service. That's why Vidur stops asking questions. He's already situated in devotional service. There's another verse here. The great sage Maitreya now gives the final answer to all these questions. Devotional service to the Lord is the ultimate means to mitigate all the miserable conditions of material existence. So, all these questions are asked by Vidur, and Maitreya answers all of them by summarizing that devotional service is the answer to all these questions. Devotional service. All we have to do is just follow the instructions given by Guru and Krishna. Srila Prabhupada's movement is all over the world, and all we have to do is just follow instructions. It is so easy. I gave an example in various parts in America that I had a nice employee. His name was Sergio, Italian boy, young Italian boy. And he used to do everything which I asked him with a smile. So sometimes I say, go and deliver this medication to these elderly people. They can't come out. Go to their house, give it to them. And he would do that. Go to the bank, put some money in the bank. He would do that. Go and pick up my sister's children here in Gurukul. Pick up. I was always dropping children in the 80s. And then my assistant used to come here. But he gave one condition. I'll go and pick up, the kids. But you must give me £1. Do you know what that £1 was for? No? Okay. It's Grace, Kandadi Prabhu. At that time, he was very happy that we are offering Bhoga with ghee. All items for preparation to Lord Radha Gokulananda must be made in ghee. Okay? Even if you are making samosas, which you always fry in oil, tastes better, the one with oil. But he said, no. Everyone must cook in the deity kitchen with ghee, everything in ghee. And then he applied that principle at that time with frying chips. So the chips fried here were in ghee. So my assistant, he only liked the chips. So he said, I'll go and collect them, provided you give me the money to buy the chips. So every time he comes to collect the kids, he would buy a portion of chips from the bakery. So the point is, he was so happy. His face is always smiling because he's happy, and £1 is nothing. At that time also it was something, but the point was the chips were so tasty because they were fried in ghee. And, that was his condition. He'll collect the kids provided he could buy the portion of chips. So again, he was happy, smile, kids come home. And, He goes to bank, he goes here, he goes there, but with a smile. So I am trying to imbibe that service attitude which he had. I'm trying to imbibe that in my life so I can serve all the Vaishnavas. I can serve Maharajas, I can serve devotees of ISKCON. So I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to learn from his lifestyle, actually. It's always smiling. Isn't it wonderful to have a nice assistant like that? So people come back to the chemist because they like his service. He says, you're a young boy, he met me and he did this, he did this. Okay, now let's see. Maitreya Muni is disciple of Brahaspati and he's also Parashar Muni's disciple. Maitreya continued, my dear Vidur, whatever you have asked from me about the great reputation and character of Dhruva Maharaj, I have explained to you in detail. So great saintly persons and devotees very much like to hear about Dhruva Maharaj. But the point is, my dear sage Maitreya, Vidur, I have put all these questions before you with a view to knowing the pastimes of Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You are the friend of all, so kindly describe them for all those who have lost their vision. So this is another wonderful question Vidur asked, but Maitreya was very happy because it concerns everyone. It concerns everyone. So it is for their benefit. And Krishna's pastimes are just too good. Everyone feels happy reading one pastime after another. Last week, somehow or other, Krishna gave me on management in Soul Street, gave me 4 classes. Yeah, I gave 4 classes in Soul Street. But each class was different because the audience was different. Mostly Western audience. Yes, because of Soul Street, people come in, they inquire what's going on. So I had wonderful opportunity of questions and answers. So this is where Maitreya Muni is so happy with Vidur, you're asking relevant questions. And I was happy again, just trying to give correct answers from the Shastras. Right. Saint Vidur, he was a pure devotee, great and pure devotee of the Lord. And therefore, his questions to His Grace Maitreya Muni must have been very purposeful, on the highest level and approved by learned circles. So since the great sage Maitreya was filled with God consciousness, he had no reason to be astonished at such contradictory questions by Vidur. So this is a part of this whole series of questions and answers. But I will stop there and I will ask... Right, I'll just read the last one. Vidur retired from putting questions before Maitreya Muni when he was convinced by him that the summum bonum of life is to be finally situated in the transcendental loving service of Lord Krishna, Govinda, one who satisfies his devotees in all respects. So that is the story today, that Maitreya Muni is very qualified and he answers all the questions of Vidur. And the end conclusion is do devotional service. That's the bottom line. Okay, thank you very much for listening very patiently. This is the best crowd I've been, lecturing to in the last 6 weeks. 6 weeks. Very silent. They are all. This is called listening to a Bhagavatam class with attentiveness, attention. It's said, when you want to hear so that it doesn't go from this ear to that ear, it goes from this ear into the heart. Shrunvatam Swatha Krishna. It should go from this ear into the heart. This is how to listen, and you all are perfect examples. This is wonderful, wonderful to see. Vishwambhara Prabhu is also here. I'm so happy that you are here to witness a little class, small class. So please bless me that I have spoken something of relevance. And any questions, please, or comments? Yes. Let's read. I will read from here. I'll read two purports, yeah? The first one and the second one. Or, no, there's no purport. There's a translation. Purport. Vidur asked all relevant questions of Maitreya because he knew well that Maitreya was the right person to reply to all the points of his inquiries. One must be confident about the qualifications of his teacher. One should not approach a layman for replies to specific spiritual inquiries. Such inquiries, when replied to with imaginative answers by the teacher, are a program for wasting time. So the second half of the purport is, if you hear from somebody who is not qualified, you're wasting time. Yeah, but although they speak nicely or whatever, but if they're not from the disciplic succession, you should not hear from them. It's, the Mayavadi philosophers, they speak in a flowery language, very nice language. And then you get absorbed into it, but you get no results. You are wasting time. So Srila Prabhupada is very strict against Mayavadi philosophers and Mayavadi speakers. That's why the whole, when we say Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pasaya Bhatli, Srimade Bhaktivedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauram Charani, Nirvishesha, Shunyavare, Pashita Disatari. Srila Prabhupada is against all these Mayavadis and, they have got zero. Basically, they are zero. Anyway, Hare Krishna. Okay, so, but the first part is very relevant of the purport, that Maitreya Muni is qualified person. He was next to Krishna. He knew all the answers, although he was not a pure devotee. Pure devotee was Uddhava. Krishna was speaking to Uddhava. But Maitreya Muni happened to be there. So that's thank you for saying that. Questions? Okay, Srinivas Prabhu or Paramakaruna, first you answer question.
Thank you, Prabhu, for the class. Prabhu, this statement by Srila Prabhupada, that one must be confident about the qualification of his teacher, especially when it comes to spirituality, Krishna consciousness. It's the matter of the consciousness. So how does one develop that confidence that the spiritual master is qualified or the teacher is qualified?
Nowadays we have a spiritual master and disciple course. So there we are actually invited to ask various questions to see if the Guru is qualified. And Guru, again, he has opportunity to ask the disciple various questions and make sure the disciple is also qualified. So that is one opportunity where one can find out whether the Guru is in line of disciplic succession, whether the Guru is qualified in Vedic knowledge, whether he is following in line of previous acharyas. So one can easily, not by on sort of inverted commas speculation, one has to find out from senior devotees or god brothers of the Guru, because they know the qualities and qualifications of their god brothers. So I believe we should act in three ways. Somebody who's lower than us, we should try and be compassionate to them, help them come up. And if they come up and they go faster than you, quicker than you in Krishna consciousness, in spiritual world, don't be envious. It happens in the material world that, oh, I taught him and now he's my manager. and I have to listen to him. But that is material world. But in spiritual world, if somebody is advancing more than you, let him advance, because he's got this special mercy from Krishna, and you should be happy for him that he's advancing. So that is how I see things. So when somebody is advancing, be happy. When you are on the equal level, you think they are on the equal level, become friends with each other, and then you can discuss Bhagavatam nicely. It says in chapter 10, verse number 9, Matchitta Mattagattapara. So you have to discuss Bhagavatam. Because you are friends, you can keep talking about Krishna Katha. But if somebody is senior to you, Maharajis, Prabhupada disciples, then we should serve them. We should ask them, how can I serve you? But you ask them with humility. Maharaj, lunchtime you would like this? Okay, we'll try and make that apples or soup or something. So then you are serving Maharaj. Whatever he likes, you cook for Maharajas. You cook for Prabhupada disciples. And they are our senior, so we try and satisfy their needs. His Grace Mahatma Prabhu is coming in July sometime. So I've already talked to the secretary. And every year they come to bless our house. But last 2 years we have been refurbishing our property. So this year I told the secretary that it is all ready. We have spare rooms for the servant also. So please come. So it's a wonderful opportunity to meet senior devotees, to associate with them. Anyway, so that is what my answer is, that you approach somebody senior who can give you right answer, whether they are qualified or not. Does that help with the answer?
Thank you, Prabhu. Prabhu, just connected with that. Here, Maitreya is regarded as a qualified person to answer Vidura's questions. But at the same time, what is Maitreya's position? Because you're saying he's not a pure devotee, but Vidura is asking him questions about Krishna consciousness, about creation, right, about God, Krishna. So then, how do we understand this? On one hand, he's qualified, but on the other hand, he's not a pure devotee.
Okay. So it is said that he had this special mercy, Agyata Sukriti. He was present because of Agyata Sukriti. He just happened to pass through, and then he decided that Krishna Katha is going on here, let me sit down. So it doesn't matter whether you're elevated or not elevated, but if Krishna gives you a little mercy and you come where there is Krishna Katha, you actually, and obviously Maitreya Muni must have heard with attentiveness. Like Sutta Goswami, he was present when Sukadev Goswami was talking to Parikshit Maharaj, preaching to Parikshit Maharaj. So Sutta Goswami, he had such powerful hearing, like our ex-president Shrutidhamma Prabhu here. His name was Shrutidhamma, because he could hear everything, digest everything, and it went straight into his heart. It didn't go from one ear to the other ear. It went straight to his heart. So Sutta Goswami actually heard everything. And then he repeated what he heard to the sages of Namasharanya. Pure hearing, attentive hearing, like you, all of you, attentive hearing. So Maitreya Rishi, although he is not a pure devotee because he's a Jnana Mishra Bhakta, he's a mixed devotee. But that did not deter him in preaching. In preaching, he was just preaching what Krishna told him to preach. So it is like reading this Bhagavatam. If I read Somebody else comes and reads, Bhagavatam is Bhagavatam. That's the point. Maitreya Muni was just repeating what he heard from Krishna. So he could answer all the questions because he knew the knowledge, because he was there, present with Krishna. And then Uddhava was sent with the same message to go to Bhadrakasham. So they were both qualified. Would that help? Do you think that helps? Srinivas, you were next, or then Mataji? Yeah. Maybe, huh? Just comment here. One here and then Mataji is okay? Okay, thank you.
If you read the 10.10 Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, text 10,
Dadami Buddhi Yogamtam. Yes.
Prabhupada explains in the purport that even if you're not intelligent to contact your spiritual master, you're part of a spiritual organization, but if you serve Krishna with all sincerity,
Okay.
then Krishna will make arrangement for you to go back to him.
From within.
From within.
Dadami Buddhi Yogamtam. He will give you intelligence from within.
So the point is, ultimately, we have to connect to Krishna.
Yes.
And because we don't have the intelligence to connect to Krishna, that's why the spiritual masters and Vaishnavas are there to help us to come to that point of connecting to Krishna. Then all the knowledge we need will come to us.
Correct. Absolutely correct.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So how about us, when we come in contact with a public member, how do we receive information about their faith? How do we take that? Is it in a helpful way? Because you're saying we shouldn't take teachings from anybody, who hasn't got they're not pure, they're not devotees. Is that right? And so the other thing is, if Krishna is in contact with anybody, they become pure, isn't it? I mean, like, even when he killed the demons, they got liberated. So any contact with Krishna, and Maitreya was in contact, very close contact. So how come he wasn't pure? He was really pure, don't you think? I don't know. It just confused me a bit.
Yeah, the distinction there is made because Krishna wants Uddhava to get the credit. Uddhava is a pure devotee of Krishna. And he did not tell Maitreya Muni, you are a pure devotee. No. Because Maitreya Muni was not on the level of pure devotion service. But in relation to your question which you asked earlier, that you meet somebody on the road and
Book
they want to...
distribution, for instance, yeah.
They don't want... they are speaking something in... What Srila Prabhupada was, when he went to America, he had the similar questions because so many other people wanted to tell him, no, you are coming to America, it is very cold, you have to wear a big coat, you have to do this, and our culture is this, our culture is that. So Srila Prabhupada simply said, I have come here to give, not take. So when you are doing book distribution, you are actually giving them some mercy from Srila Prabhupada, Nityananda Prabhu, and all you want to do is give them mercy. You don't want to take their association, really. You don't want to listen to them. But out of respect, you say, okay, you speak, I listen. That's a good way, because they want to take something out from their heart. You listen. But don't listen and digest that information. It is not good. Yeah? Unless it's a devotee talking to you and giving you good advice, you take. But if a stranger on the road tells you, oh yes, yeah, I mean, it happens with a lot of Vedic people, Indian people, they will say, oh, I have a Gita, I have read it, I know everything. Yeah? And then when you go to their house or whatever, they haven't even opened the Gita. It's still in the sealed pack. So they're just speculating. Yeah? Then you don't listen to them. If they've actually read Bhagavad Gita, they're talking some sense, you listen. But you are well experienced. You know when to listen to who. You are well experienced.
I understand that. But you could be learning about their faith, which would, we are in multi-faith community nowadays, aren't we? So.
Yeah, by all means, take part with the other multi-faiths, but you give your opinion. be firm in your conviction, then you can talk about Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita. You give them our knowledge. They'll be very happy.
Yeah.
You tell them to chant Hare Krishna. Everyone will be happy. Yeah, I met somebody the other day at a bus stop. It was an African gentleman. But he saw me in my dhoti and then he said, "Oh, you look religious." I said, "Yeah. Do me one favor. Can you just repeat after me?" So I told him, chant Hare. So he did Hare Krishna, etc. The whole Mahamantra. And he was so happy. He said, "This is wonderful." I didn't do anything. I just told him to repeat. And he did. And the bus came, so he jumped on and end of story. But at least he repeated Hare Krishna Mahamantra once. And I was happy. We give. Prabhupada came to give America. He didn't come to take any of their culture. Okay? It makes sense? We are all warriors or soldiers of Srila Prabhupada. We should go out there and it's a battle. Battle against Maya. Correct? Correct? Okay. Please, Vishal Bolo, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for the class. Mataji was saying, you were saying how we shouldn't digest the information we hear from unauthorized people.
Correct.
But unfortunately, we live in a world where we're constantly bombarded with so much stimulus, not just hearing, but seeing, etc. And how do we not let that, because the mind is taking everything in, so how can we be more safe in such a passionate environment?
In the Bhagavad Gita, intelligence is higher than the mind, mind higher than senses, senses higher than the sense objects, yes? So we have to control our mind. But how do we control our mind? When you think something is not relevant, from one ear to the other, take it out. But this is Bhagavatam class, you are actually hearing and you're trying to put it in your heart. Yeah? So when you are intelligent, Vishal is intelligent, you are intelligent, you know when somebody is trying to tell you something, okay, here, because it's out of respect, you are listening to them, you give them respect, but you make sure it goes out the other ear. So it doesn't even enter your... That's where the intelligence comes. You just tell your intelligence, I don't want to listen to this nonsense. You don't tell them, but that's what you meditate. That this was all rubbish. Yes? That way it doesn't go in your system. Does that help? You just don't worry about it. Once you worry or think about it, then you digest it.
So putting a filter in our mind, this is rubbish. So
you have intelligence. So intelligence will override the mind. Intelligence will override the mind. Yeah? Does that help? Do you think it's a good answer? Or it might, yes? Think about it, okay. Thank you. Everyone, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.